All right, we are recording. Welcome back for another session. It's been about 3 weeks, I think, since I put the last one. I did put up. I posted our week 4 D&D today.
I saw the name of it as well. Like the others are all like perfectly like Vicora Homebrew D&D week 1, Vicora Homebrew D&D
week 2,
Vicora Homebrew D&D week 3. Some grown-ass men play D&D week 4.
Yeah,
Homebrew edition.
Yeah, I decided the other one wasn't like I gotta get people's, because people are like, what? Tabletop? I was just like, it seemed too bland, so I was gonna like let me put a little spice in it and see if it makes people want to watch it.
I have noticed a decent amount of the guys I watch, what they'll do is they will upload a video and then maybe like 5 hours later they will change the thumbnail or they'll change the title of it or they'll change something about it. I don't know. I assume it like restarts the algorithm or something, like pumps it out more, like it's new. I don't
or they
really
just
know,
put up
but
like a placeholder because
it.
they're doing it fast, and then they're like, "This is the one I really wanted in place."
It seems
because I've done that before. Does it?
I could be right. It seems. If I venture a guess, I would put money on it. It's a calculated decision by them.
Well, maybe I will do that. I like the first like 5 hours, I'll post it with just like whatever it auto generates, and then I'll put in. Something, I thought about doing an AI or doing a, not an AI, a logo or like a common, something we always put in front for Vicora, for the tabletop, like at least a thumbnail that I can always use. It's like us around a table or something that would show up other than literally just a picture of whatever was on the screen.
The tabletop thing, yeah, like minute 4 and 36 seconds or something, yeah.
So I think I might end up having to spend some time doing that, which I think will be fine. I'll just have to get a picture of me, like I'll have to screen grab where it was me, you, and Ken's at some point in time on screen, and then tell it like, okay, take these people, do this to them,
cartoony or something, playing dice around a table. Yeah.
I might put us in little like outfits or something like RPG
skin tight leotards. Yeah.
No, not quite that. Like it would still only be a chest up, but I mean, I don't know. Unless you want that ass out there, I'll put that out. I'll put you twerking if you want. I'll put you as a twerker, leading us. You can be yelling behind your shoulder at us while you twerk, and it'll have like, D will be on one cheek and M will be on the other cheek.
What's the one where they like try to flip the cup on their ass? Right?
Yes,
like, do that, but with a D20
dice,
like,
D20. Okay,
and the D20 on.
That'd be fantastic. It's kind of tempting. Actually, I kind of like that. Okay, so we've kind of talked about this a little bit off stream, but recently,
is it gonna make me happy, preacher? Is it gonna bring me to my happy place in life?
Maybe it's kind of a cool thing that happened. So Twitter introduced an Autotranslate.
Oh yeah.
That just automatically translates. I don't know if every language or how many, but it started with Japanese. They tested it out with the Japanese, and it worked fantastic. And there's a huge amount, and that's what I'm going to talk about, a huge amount of interaction between Americans and the Japanese. Then, some other places got involved, and then I think they rolled it out, so now, like, Koreans and most of Europe can do the auto-translate, and it'll just automatically write on a, You don't even have to click the button, and it actually does. I would say about a 90 to 95% good job. Like I would say 95, and it seems fluid. Every now and then you can catch it doing a little like this is translated. But I would say it's very fluid. Like it feels like you're reading someone's tweet in English, and it was really fast. It was exceptionally fun and interesting to be a part of it because I did get in on it. I was definitely typing. There's just a lot of discovery. It was a really cool moment, and I think initially, people were like, "Oh, look at it!" It started with people sharing pictures of their meat, like as in like steak and brisket.
Oh my!
Yeah, and it just became. And then there's what the Japanese decided to title as cheese violence, where Americans start showing like stuff smothered in cheese, and and they call it cheese violence. Very Cheese. But it was very cool because I do think a lot of people started meshing over that. It must have still kept the algorithm to a degree because I noticed that I got a lot of Japanese people who coincidentally were politically very strongly aligned with what I like anyway. And they had the same frustrations with society that I too share. And you found out
did keep that algorithm in the background.
I was gonna say because I found out there's a lot of me versions over in Japan, if you will. They're pretty chill about it. I got into the. It's really cool. I got over into the Japanese Christian Twitter because that's very rare over there, right? Like they're a very small portion. It's like maybe less than 1% of their population. It's a very small section over there, but it was they're very like. It's interesting how little they argue over the meaningless small stuff that we love to like get just viciously entangled in, because it's like to them they're kind of it's almost like survival, so their connection with other Christians is on a very basic, like these are core principles, right? As opposed to where in the West we got so comfortable and so that we have to find some reason to validate why we're better than somebody, so we start nitpicking at this, that, and the other that's like, not even tertiary, like whatever quintessentiary, whatever 5 layers
it's
out,
real down the
tiny,
list,
doesn't, okay, sure, whatever, like doesn't affect much of anything. We start arguing like as if that's going to like affect everyone's. You're not a real Christian if you smell farts. Oh my god.
You wear vanilla perfume when you go to the church? Oh,
how could you?
In the house of the Lord.
Harlot. Oh. So yeah, I just it was refreshing seeing people who were happy to see, and there was this really cool. It felt really like positive. Everybody's like, "Oh, I like you. You like me." Oh, like the Japanese thought we hated them, and vice versa, right? And everybody's like, "No, we love you. Oh, get out." It did get weird once it got really popular. That obviously, because this happens with everything, right? The douchebags have to wiggle their way in. Turns out there's a lot of Chinese people would pretend to be Japanese because you could still do the thing where you could check where they were from, but it was like the Japanese started telling us like, oh no, these are known like accounts that do this, and so they try to actually like make them see like they just tried to seed discord, right? They were just extra mean, and it just. But I would just say in general, it does still seem positive. Obviously, I think they tweaked the algorithm because it was for like 2 days. It was like 90 to 95% Japanese accounts on my For You page. Now it's balanced out to where it's maybe somewhere between 50 and 20%, depending on it goes 50 on the high end, 20 on the but it's still there. But it was. I thought overall it was a very positive thing. It definitely made you feel more connected, and they're like, "Oh, please come visit. We'd love to, come see our stuff." And they were kind of the mentality that I think most Americans are, where it's like, we want people to come here and visit, but be respectful of what our, don't do pull-ups.
Try to like contaminate,
Don't
like,
be
like
loud.
Over
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't try to make YouTube videos out of everything, like. And the funny thing is, it's not really been Americans as much as it's been, well, there's a few Americans, but it's actually been a lot of Europeans that like, they would go over there and those gates they have, the Tory gates, they'd be like doing like pull-ups on the gates and stuff. And it's like, these are like holy shrine things that people are like doing pull-ups and like, and there's like a geisha woman walking down the street, and all the Japanese people would clear out and just kind of like go about their business, but they knew that she's supposed to get from point A to point. Like, there's a respect that's supposed to be paid, and you're not supposed to. It was a Spanish woman. They found out. Everybody thought it was American because she was rude, and so all these people. And by the way, it's almost all American people going, "Of course it was American. Of course Americans being," and they're like, "No, she was."
Some weird self-flagellation that people like to do. Yeah,
that's exactly it. And they're like, "No, this lady was Spanish." anyway, she was like walking in front of her, and then would run in front of her, take more pictures, and then run in front of her, and clearly the girl was trying to avoid her. Like it was, she wasn't just like ha ha. She was like trying to get out of the way of the lady, and it anyway. So they're like, don't do this stuff. Just if you come be enjoy. We want you to enjoy. Wear a kimono. We love that stuff. But it's not. We don't. We don't care. We don't think of cultural appropriation is even a thing. Fuck that. It's really like that's a you guys thing. We don't care about that. But they were just like be respectful. It was really cool, and I wish. Sorry, I got distracted because I was trying to think of what my next move was going to be there. I don't know. I haven't. That was just me rambling. What? You've added some few things, but do you have any like thoughts about maybe the world getting a little bit smaller through auto translation?
No, I mean, it's a nice and it's a beautiful thing, I think, for various cultures to be able to interact in ways that they couldn't before. Um, I always worry about like the homogenization of everything, because eventually, if you have like 4 or 5 cultures all sort of like there's these borders between them, well, those get eroded over time, and eventually it sort of seeps into now this is all one culture or one thing. And I think when it does that, then people just kind of naturally start hating each other with like I do wish it was a system where it was like, all right, no, we have these distinct 4 groups, and there's these sort of harsh borders around them, but at any point you can go over there and experience the great parts of this one, and they can come over here and experience the great parts of that one, and they can go over here and experience the good parts of this one, right? Like I wish more for the variety, right?
Yeah.
And I guess I just worry with something like this that variety, while present at the start, is going to eventually
I think that's why it kind of works with America and Japan. Because from what I saw, of course, I am obviously a little more conservative. So you get people who love America for being America, right? Well, we got connected with people who love Japan for being, and they want to keep Japan kind of with that Japanese culture. So I think the people who I was interacting with and the people I saw had a very strong of what you're talking. Like, we love each other's culture, but we love that it's our culture too. Like, we both understood, yes, Japanese for Japan for the Japanese. Like, yes, you should keep your. We don't want to, because then you see every now and then somebody pop up and be like, oh, we're gonna make you the 51st state or some dumb stuff, right? But it was just and then everybody would attack that guy and be like, no, he's an idiot. We don't. Most people on both sides were like, we like and we want to engage with you and we like you and we're happy, but also we're very proud and we want you to feel what we have, but because it's what we have, we don't want to change what we have. And I think both sides had that
understanding that like the harsh boundaries are part of like, what is necessary for each area to have its own beautiful, unique identity. I think that if you aren't aware of that, that's when it gets eroded. But if more people sort of understand and respect those boundaries, then 2 thumbs up and everything can go well.
Absolutely. Oh, I know where I was headed with this. So my next thought on my notes was you don't have to let awful people fill your social media. Balance that, but then you have to balance that with keeping an open mind. And I guess I was starting to look at how, like, I saw a couple of comments this week, and it's like as people grew, but there's a couple that were already on my timeline, and they were like, oh, I hate when I don't like to block people, or I don't like to whatever. And we've talked about this before, and it's like, I think that's kind of stupid because there's no pride in keeping people who are just there to antagonize, and they're not there, as we said, in good faith. They're not. Yeah. It's not that they disagree with you. It's that they are. There's no genuine intent on their part to even listen or engage. They're just there to antagonize and be a jerk. You don't have to let those people in your life and bring that negativity to your environment, in your psychological space.
It's not heroic to be like, look at all I can endure.
Yes.
Look at how much I can take, right? Look at how my mind is steeled at all times. Eventually you gotta like rest your mind, be able to, not have a lot of the really harsh voices that you don't want to listen to. I don't see it as weak to be like, look, this guy just harshes my vibe and I just don't want him around me. I don't see that as weak at all.
I agree. Now it's
Unless you're like that with a lot of people.
well,
Right?
that's what I was
If
going to
you're like
say.
that with
That's
everybody, then of course you have
that's where I was bringing in the
problem.
balance, because I think some people use that as an excuse to stay inside of a bubble where they never
Yeah.
have to hear contradictory
I think what
thoughts
you
and
find in
concepts.
those instances is the bubble constantly shrinks and shrinks and shrinks and shrinks until they have like 2 or 3 people in that bubble, and they're like, we're the only people that get it. And it's
Yeah.
like, I think that sort of pattern of the shrinking of the bubble is really indicative of the problem. Whereas if you have someone who just every once in a while stumbles into someone that they just really don't vibe with, like me, I don't, but generally the sort of group that they are willing to engage with does kind of grow or expand, or like, oh, well, this person has some interesting thoughts, that person has some interesting, and it sort of builds instead of shrinks.
That's interesting, because I was
That might
trying
be
to
a good sign.
think. I think I have a constantly fluctuating group. Because I was trying to think, I've grown through like streaming and such. I've grown who I connect with, but there's some people who I would be very willing to like. Sometimes I'm just at a point where I'm like, you know what, this is stress. I'm just,
Yeah.
cut it out. I am maybe I am a little too willing to cut people off. But I don't know. I just feel like sometimes I can tell if there's ever going to be. It's almost like I look forward and I go, okay, is there a path forward with this, or are we just so convinced that we on our side, like there's never going to be much of a middle ground. It's always just going to be us butting heads. Because I do feel like I add people, and then if it comes to the point where I got to whittle some of them down, then I go, okay, let's whittle down, and then I go back out and I expand again. I do think that what I try to do is my first thought, and I think this is kind of like the American, it's what almost freaks other people out. We start off with like, okay, I'm going to shake your hand, but nice to meet you, right? Because that's like freaks other cultures out, because it's like you're immediately making physical contact. That's supposed to be like later.
Dangerous.
And what we do is almost like, I assume you're going to be a good friend until you show me other. I'm assuming the best about you, is kind of that mentality. And then if you show me that's incorrect, that's fine. Then I'll make the change. And I think that's how I try to go about stuff when I meet new people. It's like, okay, I'm going to assume we're going to be good, we're going to be chill, and then if we figure out that's not the case, then that's okay. We adjust then, and we whittle it down.
Yeah. No, I always get driven mad when people are like, oh, respect isn't given, it's earned, right? Because there's 2 ways you can do with it, right? Like, yes, you can like withhold good judgment from everybody and walk around like, tight.
Yeah.
And then, by random chance, you see someone do a good thing and you're like, that person now has my respect. But then or you can just give it to everyone until they show you that they don't deserve it, and then take it away. And I think that's a way better system.
Yeah, I agree. I think it also just helps you grow as a person more and be able to adapt better, because you will be like, I thought, man, I like them. I wonder why this one little thing perturbs me so much.
Yeah. Now, I'm not saying like give them your bank account information like when you meet them.
Yeah.
But
give them the benefit of the doubt. Yeah.
If they're like, hey, I'll be at the restaurant at 4, you expect them to get there at like 3:55, right? Don't be like, they'll be late.
Unless it's me, I will be late. But only because I'm pooping. I tried to leave at 3:30, and then anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I just thought like that was a social media thing. That it was when I was thinking about how much it's expanding. I think of how much also people, because there was this. I wish I had it, but there was like a chart that came out and showed that like Twitter had become more conservative after but. And they were trying to say, it's because Elon kind of made it that way, right? Like he forced other people out.
I see.
And it was like, well, no, it was a choice. Like you can't force people to stay. And I think what actually happens when it ceased being an echo chamber for one side, a lot of people didn't like that, left, and then a lot of other people came in, right? And it did kind of flip a bit, but also what came out was the chart was completely inaccurate. Like the data was just wrong. It was somebody made it up. Oops, I'm still recording. I touched my microphone. I was worried. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. But it just turned out that all the data was wrong anyway. Like it was literally people were going like, no, here's my actual user data and my engagement, and that's what you've got me listed for a year. I've engaged within a month. So who knows? It was.
Yeah.
which is another thing. Don't trust just because somebody claims it's from a study, or even if it is from a study. Like, look it up. Just don't trust data on the internet.
It is a realm in which, like, it's so fraught with bad faith actors, right? Like, it's like going to a carnival and expecting everyone to deal fairly with you. It's like, oh, I'm just shooting the basketball. I'm good at basketball. Every once in a while, and it's like the hoop is like as small as it can be, and the metal is so rigid that the ball bounces off. Like, and you're like, oh, this is strange. Guess I'm just off my game today. It's like, no, you are in a realm where people try to take advantage of you.
And it's interesting how many people just take things at face value on the internet. And then, because I've been seeing that, so I'm cutting myself off. I've been seeing that a lot recently with sports stuff, in that it's kind of like, it's what they call transfers. It's the transfer portal season. So people are moving from one team to another now, right? Which means it's all just, it is so much rumor. And, I know a guy who knows a guy. And they all, it's fact. And everybody just, they're all just all over each other. And then it'll get, I will see the origination point of somebody just making something up, I think this should be the case. And in like 5 hours, there are somewhat large sports, like social media profiles that people consider like almost journalism. Not quite, but right there. Who are like repeating this information as if it were fact. And it's just like made up nonsense. And it blows my mind how like no one takes any like, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're critical. No critical thinking. They don't critically go, okay, let me make sure. Let me wait. I think that's the other, right? No one goes, let me wait to form an opinion. Let me see.
Oh my God. People have no idea that they have 3 options when presented with information, right? They think they have 2 options. Do I go with it or do I not? It's like, no, suspend judgment. Judgment. I don't know yet.
It's great. I would say that's probably the most intelligent
It should
approach.
be the most common answer to 90% of the things that you interact with. I don't know yet.
Yeah, I'll have to see.
You can absolutely have like a credence, like, I'm 60% sure it's that, but 60 is like pretty close to 50-50, and like, I don't know.
I mean, even if you're 70 or 80%, I'm thinking that's still 20% that you're not 100%. I would say like, I tend to lean this way, but I'm still open to hear more. Like, I think that needs to be a significantly...
I really wish everyone's thoughts worked in terms of percentages of belief, right? Like, I'm 70% sure of this. I'm 80% sure of that. I wish everyone thought that way, but it's like all or nothing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think if we ever actually even made that a thing where you had to say, you just always see people, I'm 100% sure.
Right.
I mean, because I saw that even with like people transferring. They're like, there's 0% chance this guy is leaving. And the amount of people that say there is 0% chance, and then 2 weeks later it happens, it's like, you don't know what 0% means to me. Like, there clearly wasn't zero.
Literally, right? When people are like, they literally killed him, right? And it's like, no, they didn't.
The best is when people use literally for the exact, what is it, antonym? Which is, they mean figuratively?
Figuratively.
They literally are using the opposite term.
They figuratively did this.
Yes. That's my favorite.
Bastardization of language.
It kills, man. It does.
I think if we were to use language more commonly of I am 80% sure of this, or I'm 70% sure of this, or
it would do. I agree.
You would be able to actually get information a lot more efficiently, quicker, and of better quality. But here we are.
I think that's part of what sabotages us, though. Like maybe it's also we're annoying to listen to. I don't know. It's very possible. My speech pattern.
I'm annoying to listen to. I promise you.
I think you sound better than I do.
I'm too smarmy. I'm too haughty and big-britched.
Big-britched indeed. Oh. I just don't know why you can't size your pants properly.
If I could imagine the world is in front of me, I could do anything.
But it's like, I do think part of the problem with us and our podcast is we do kind of have, we definitely take one side sometimes, but I do think we kind of balance it a little bit, and people want extreme assuredness and
Yeah.
like if we're like, well, I think this is dumb, but I understand where people come from. People don't want that. They want, and anybody who doesn't agree with me is stupid, and this is 100% true, and we are right, and everybody else is worse than us that disagrees. You are bad.
I think with stuff like this, I experience it when I watch the Sam Harris stuff that's out there. It's almost like I am venturing with like my coat up, my hood, and a staff into the wilderness, right? And I'm by myself out, weathering the things, trying to explore and see what there is, versus the other stuff where it's like you and your boys on the couch going like, yeah, fuck that, yeah, screw that, yeah, right? And it's like there's a different vibe to the whole thing, and I think that a lot of people prefer that second vibe, and I think it takes a special kind of either discipline or mood to enjoy the wandering out into the woods.
Yeah, to enjoy the thought process, not the conclusion.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, it's interesting. Well, also, something I saw today. See, this is just bringing stuff. I didn't plan this, but it was. I have what's the guy that's? Is it Tim Pool? He wears the beanie. He always has a beanie on.
Know.
Okay. He's kind of like a middle of the road like he usually falls conservative, but he's known for being more of a libertarian.
Oh, looks like I googled him. He's got a beanie.
Okay, then that's who it was. He likes to. So he has times where he will say what his actual position is, right? But then after that, when he gets a lot of people reacting to him, he will sarcastically repeat basically what they're saying in a tweet. And the people who follow him know it's him being sarcastic and kind of mocking it. But the funny thing is, a lot of people who don't follow him don't realize that, and so they will interact with that, and then try to counter him, and then he laughs. But it's a weird, because it is. I do think it's partially on him that he should know that not everybody who's going to see his tweets follows him enough to recognize that he's using sarcasm. And sarcasm does not come across in written form, right? Like you have to understand, written words do not portray sarcasm particularly unless you really overdo it.
It's very true. Written words do not convey intonation or...
And so it's like, I understand part of it's on other people that they don't, but it's like you can't expect people to go and look at all your past tweets for them to understand your current one. Like,
Correct.
You just can't do it with that mentality. Whenever I write in sarcasm, I actually write sarcasm in parentheses. Because I'm just like, I want people to know I'm saying this sarcastically.
Let me be clear.
Yes. You don't have to argue with me on this. I know. But it is a weird thing because I think a lot of people do that. But they also, I think it's an element that they use to drum. There is a little bit of like, they have to know it's going to engage, right? Like it's going to get engagement.
Yeah.
And they go,
I was just... The monetization of people's attentions is just brutal on us, man. I mean, it's... You want to point at something that maybe you can argue against capitalism on, I would say it's probably that.
Yeah. That's why streaming has turned into such a trap, right? Like it used to be, it was people watching other people who like to play the same games they did and kind of had similar jokes and humor, and now it's people... Nobody's even playing games anymore. It's just about screaming and yelling and being the most absurd, and it's everything is kind of adapted to that.
Completely agree.
That's what kind of cursed news, right? Like at some point in time, news was at least partially about trying to get actual facts to people.
Yep.
Now it is almost entirely about trying to get viewership.
It didn't take like 10 years for yellow journalism to kick in, and then slowly but surely it's building and building and building, and now it's all sensationalism.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because when yellow journalism got coined, it was kind of like a rare thing that you'd be like, oh, you're doing yellow journalism.
Right.
Oh,
and people knew and could look at it and go, that's not really news.
Uh-huh. That's not, you shouldn't do that. And now it's 98% of news. It's like major mainstream news.
One story to another of all yellow journalism, just comically absurd.
Nothing but yellow journalism. Yes.
Entirely meant to captivate rather than to actually educate and inform.
And give people the information so that they can form their opinions. Instead, it's like, and I hate when, I almost prefer blatantly biased like opinion shows and stuff, as opposed to the ones that try to pretend like they're not, but you can tell by the way they use their language that they're definitely like trying to tilt it.
No, I get you. Yep.
Because then I'm like, that's even more like manipulative and deceptive. I would rather someone be like, I hate this because I hate it, and this is why, than someone be like, oh, I'm just telling you the facts of how the bad guy who did this thing, and this thing that we all agree is bad did this to the good person who did, and when it's, it's like,
yeah. Well, I've been telling you. I think I think it was you, not Kins, but I've been watching the like John Oliver stuff like last week tonight lately, and I've been just very uncomfortable with some of the stuff that gets brought up there. Like, yes, these are policemen, and everyone, boo, boo. It's like, you don't know these people. You have no idea if they're good or bad policemen. You hate all police. Like, this is ridiculous, right?
yeah.
How would you feel if I was like, oh, I hate all immigrants, every single one? You'd look at me like I'm crazy, because I would be crazy. And it's like, I don't know, man. Just the vibe of the shows, I think. I can notice quite a few of these little like moving the script forward on some of the bad, and I didn't notice it before. I really liked Last Week Tonight for several years. I thought it was interesting, and I felt educated at the end. But lately, it's just been a bit strange, and I think delving a bit more into the biased part.
No, we're talking about weird people.
Went wrong.
Yeah, no, no, nothing's going wrong. I was trying to decide where I took this, because I'm trying to stay on topic a little bit without just completely like. PETA has been.
I thought you were looking down like.
No, I was looking over because remember when we talked about PETA they made a post. It was something like, that's right. We would rather be with someone who fucks animals than eats animals. Remember when they has sex with animals than
vaguely.
Eats I remember I said, this is psycho. Like, PETA has lost it.
It's pretty crazy.
Now they just came out with another one that says cow's milk is breast milk. And they're just like talking about negative social, like whoever does their social media needs to like get off, and they need like get off of social media. They need to hire somebody else, because this person is just going crazy. Like, just saying stuff that is so. I mean, I guess going back to what we were saying, right? I don't even think it's engagement bait, though. I think they've just gotten to that point. I think as an organization, they've just lost the plot. They have lost the plot, and they are now psycho.
It's crazy what can happen when you pick a hill to die on and you stick to it. It really is wild what you'll find yourself saying after so long.
And maybe that's what it is, right? It's just like the unwillingness to even budge a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
I think we've all experienced it where we're having an argument, and it's like we didn't realize that we picked the hill that we're going to die on, but there must have been some ego attached, because the other person is making some very good claims, and you can feel in your heart like but you end up saying some weird shit that you do not actually believe, but you got pushed there, right? I've been there.
Yep. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think there's. Especially when it's funny, because I think when I get in an argument sometimes, I can tell something they're saying is off, or I can tell where it's going to lead. It's going to lead to an inaccurate. And even though I don't know exactly where to pinpoint to break there, so I have to just, that's where I say something a little bit off, because I'm like, I can tell you're off, so I'm just going to counter that to keep us from going down this illogical path. I can tell where you're headed. I'm going to say something crazy. It's like, and you're right. There is a point where it's like, I shouldn't. That is the incorrect thing, is to say the wrong thing just to like counter. But it's like, there is a point where it's like, I need about 30 minutes to break down what you're saying. Maybe 2 weeks. Let's stop here and go back. Yeah, that's interesting. Because you're right. You're right. Sometimes you just, I mean, everybody say, and that's what they say when you get in a fight with like, well, I didn't mean what I was saying. Right? And it's true. But there's also a part where it's like, well, was there somewhere in there that you meant? It's like, it's, you can't always take back things you say in an argument. That's really what it comes down to, right? Like, it'll always be in people's brains. Okay, so do you know who clavicular is?
Unfortunately, I do.
Okay. I was just thinking
That's my brother. I supply him with the meth he uses to smash his forehead.
Okay.
I'm just
Well,
kidding,
I
by
don't
the
know
way.
what.
This
I was
is
just
not
thinking of
true
like
for
dumb people
all
who do things.
governmental. Yeah, dude's a fucking idiot.
But so he had someone choke him out, and then he started like kind of convulsing. And he said, "Everyone hating, but as predicted." This is what he said: "Everyone hating, but as predicted, the clip went giga viral."
Yeah, he's there for the attention and the money.
And I just hate that so much because I mean, I will say I have somebody else in my life, may not quite be that bad, but he's this much below that, you know. Where it's like, yeah, but it went viral. We got views, and it's like,
I don't know who said it, but whoever did, everybody worships.
yeah,
Everybody worships. That's all that is.
everybody worships something, yeah,
Yes.
and you can tell by what motivates your actions, what drives your, yeah.
Yep.
And it's just, I don't know. I was just thinking, man, that's not PETA, but it is another version of,
No, Clavicular has lost the plot for a very long time.
yeah.
I mean, he is I think, the shining paradigmatic example of why it sucks to grow up ugly. Um, I,
Yeah.
I'm so
I mean,
just
by the way,
straight up
I'm not
honest.
saying I'm beautiful. So, I mean, I'm
No,
as someone who may not be attractive, I am willing to also call out other people. So, yes, go ahead.
I was quite unattractive like throughout elementary and middle school, right? Like, um, and if you look at actually pictures of Clavicular when he was younger, dude was not a good-looking guy,
Yeah.
right? And I hurt people, make some bad decisions, and here we are.
Well, I think he's like the male version of what I would say OnlyFans women are, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Like they wanted that attention so bad, and then it's like attention is too It's
Attention is a hell of a drug.
yeah, and it's I think in our society it has been raised to almost like a morality status, where it
Yeah.
is in and of itself a good thing to have, and
Yeah.
it's like the thing you strive for. Oh, it doesn't matter.
I
Did
think
it go viral?
It all started with the celebrity tabloids and those magazines, right? And everyone was like super, oh, the Kardashians, what are they doing? All these people, what are they doing? And now with social media, guess what? You can, if you play your cards right, you can be one of the people that everyone's looking at, and that's the game.
And
right?
whether or not
That's
it's positive or negative energy doesn't matter as long as you're getting yours.
Nope. Yep.
It is an interesting because I was thinking you're probably right. I remember you may have been too young, but back in like the Britney Spears original day, her and Christina Aguilera, and like it was so crazy.
This
One
is
of them
a
would
bit
get
before, it's just a little bit before.
yeah,
me.
one of them would like get out of a car, and then an upskirt would be taken from because
Oh,
they use it,
yeah,
and then
yeah, they
like
would
their
track it
vagina
up.
would be out. But the funny thing is, then all of a sudden, within a few months, other starlets, oopsie doopsie, they also had upskirts as they're getting
Really?
out of a car, and it was like it was kind of the same thing, just on a lower level. Like they were willing, and then you had the sex tape, and all of a sudden, there were multiple sex tapes, right? Like the Kardashian had their sex tape drop, and then it was like, oh, everybody's got to do. It's just a weird. People are willing to do things, and it's just a slippery slope, right? It just gets more and more extreme because, well, they showed their vagina when they were getting out of a car. Oh, well, she had a sex tape. Well, now it's like, now I have to have 12 guys doing it.
Right?
Yeah. How do I stand out? You know.
Right.
It's just I don't know, man. It's a weird. I don't know. It feels like the technology just developed too fast for us to, as a society, socially develop an actual morality system around it that kind of protected it and kept it on
100%.
the straight. You know.
100%. We are not adapting well to it at
Yeah.
all.
Let's see. Oh, well, speaking of technology. So I don't even know how I got back on. I think LinkedIn sent me a message or something. And I was just like, oh, let me see what the message is. I got back on there and I saw some people writing and they were talking about writing and AI and I was like, well, the reason a lot of people can't tell the difference between your writing and AI writing is because so much of the LinkedIn writing, even before AI, sounded like AI. Like it didn't sound like a human. You know what I mean? It had this like marketing spin. I mean, it was some CEO talking about her whatever. I can't remember how she was but the way she wrote, it almost sounded like it was an article for a Cosmopolitan. It just had
I
that
got this stuff from somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. It pulled
It was
from
just
some databases to get this.
And I'm like, this is why people need me, because I could have been like, no, that sounds inauthentic. I know you think in your head you're writing this article that sounds great. I'm telling you it's inauthentic. Or maybe only I can tell, because I do agree they're probably getting plenty of people who are not bright enough to gauge authentic versus inauthentic. I mean, because it does work, right? Like I've seen people have full-on conversations with an AI agent on the phone thinking they're talking to a person, and I'm like, I can tell that's an AI by some little, like, conversational cues, but they, they're just, oh, well, what do you think? I'm, just going at it, and I'm like, are you an AI? There was one time so one was my dad, and it wasn't his fault. It was a pretty good AI, but I was kind of hearing it. And I was like, I told my dad, hold on, like, are you an AI? And it's like, yes, I am a friendly AI agent or whatever. And then that's, she did, thankfully they did program it. I think you may have to have it where if they ask if you're AI, you have to say, I am AI.
It wasn't. Right,
you can't pretend to be a human. But it was just one of those, but this one was good. There's others that are obviously not as good, but it's just, I do think there's plenty of people who will fool, I guess is my point.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I don't know what the fix is. Like, I guess that's where I'm getting to. I don't know what the fix is. I don't know what the solution.
I mean, time, and hopefully we don't get eradicated. Like if we can endure this, we will. I think things will get better with time, but it's gonna, like, not during our lifetime, not during our kids' lifetime, not during.
Yeah, you're right. We may have to. I don't know, man. Because Elon posted something that, I mean, I know you don't like him, but this annoyed me. Someone said, oh man, Elon installing the translation, the Autotranslate, that was brilliant. It's bringing people together. It's expanding, people's interconnectivity, whatever. And he said, well, I'm pretty smart for a human, but I'm not as smart as AI. And I thought, oh no, Elon, no, that is incorrect. Like, and then funny was, not 4 or 5 posts later, somebody did a thing where they're like, hey, Grok, what about this? And Grok got it wrong because AI still struggles to get, like, a lot of annotation, or, like, how we say things but don't really mean it? AI still really struggles to figure out those elements, and so it will report something as true that clearly was not true, and even people who read the original thing wouldn't. And it's like, no, AI is not that brilliant yet. Like, it does some certain things very, very well. Like, if you're talking math, like just pure calculation, it's kicking our ass, right? Like, that's just, it does. But when it comes to, like, the human element and understanding and language, it's not quite there yet. It's not as good as good humans.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, that's good. And this is why you're on the podcast with me, because you agree with me.
I'm a yes man.
Yeah, that's right. Kick everybody else off. All right, you ready? I got another good one. And now I will get your.
I was on a high there, and I'm slumping back into cranky placebo. So
okay.
I need some help here.
Well, we'll see. I'll get you. This is kind of philosophical. Sex isn't just physical. Sex is spiritual. It is moral. It is psychological. It is emotional. There's a lot of pain and suffering that resulted from our immoral sexual behavior because it's not just physical. There's a lot more to it. That is their statement. That is the entirety of their statement. I wish there was more context to it, but in and of where it's at, I kind of agree with it, because I think that is a part. He's getting at the mentality that has harmed us as a society, is that we did view sex strictly within the realm of physical activity, fun, yes, no. Right? And it's like, oh, everybody deserves to have fun, so we just put it strictly, and it took away very real impacts and consequences that exist outside of the physical. Like, just throwing a condom on doesn't solve all the problems that come with just rampant sexual behavior, and so I guess that's what he was aiming at. And I kind of agree with him that, like, I mean, even in my lifetime, from when I was in college to now, like, when I was old enough to fully comprehend what's going on, I would say I've seen a drastic shift in just people's mentalities, people mentality towards relationships versus human connectivity, a lot of this stuff, and I can see a big portion of it did come from that, like, just trying to separate or, isolate sex as a fun activity and not take it as a human connectivity event, and all the things that go with it. So I don't know. It was kind of sort of a philosophical thing as well. That's why I thought you'd enjoy it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good time. It does it tickles me. There's ponderings I have about it. Anytime anyone tries to define something, I'm always like, all right, what are the necessary and sufficient conditions, right? That's literally always where I go from philosophy school, all that stuff, right? Necessary and sufficient conditions. He's trying to define sex. So what is necessary for sex? I think, two people engaging with their genitalia together, right? I think that'll kind of qualify, right?
Yes, the physical acts of sex, yes.
Is that sufficient? Is that enough? Can you call that sex? I think you can, right? So, however, I think whoever that wrote this was getting at a very good point, that there is a difference in kind between that sex and sex with perhaps an emotional element attached, or a psychological element attached, or these other elements attached.
I don't know if he was even just defined, because I would say I think all sex comes with. So yes, it's almost like it's a different element of sex. So just to say the act of sex, you're right. It's the genitals and all that.
Yeah.
But that act will always, to some degree, come with these other elements. Like I think people think they can control that.
Does, but I think it should.
See, I think no matter what,
it erodes at your ability to have those things, right? Like the more you do it without that, the more it erodes.
See, I think the reason it erodes is because it does have a subconscious level of that. Like I think naturally as a human, you do have an emotional connection to someone you're having sex with. Even if you're not intentionally like, I'm living with this person forever, I love them, there's still a little bit of and the more you do that, and it doesn't have that later connectivity that keeps pulling at it, like that develops into a more robust emotional connection, it's kind of like it slices it off a little bit, and it deadens it more and more and more. And that's because I do think it's like inherently comes with some level, even if it's mostly subconscious, but it does come with some level of connectivity emotionally, at least initially. And then as it gets worn down, that's why people who do it more have less of the emotional connection. It's like
it's tricky because like we're both starting from the same place and ending with the same place. That is the erosion, right? It's just that you think it is the inappropriate use of this tethered with the thing that's causing the problem, whereas I think it's like a conditioning against the thing. It's like, they say when you like.
I'm saying it comes with
sleeping.
Yeah, go ahead.
When you have trouble sleeping, like don't play on your phone in bed. Don't do other things in bed. When you lay down in bed, go to sleep, right? And if you're struggling to sleep and you can't sleep, get up, go do something. And when you're tired, then go back down and go, because you can like in your mind know the bed is where I sleep.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess I wouldn't think I'm trying to draw an analogy here where like with that, I wouldn't say those other things that you were doing in bed were like of sleeping kind that was taking you away, right? I think it was like you were inappropriately putting connections in your head, whereas with the sex thing, you're inappropriately removing the connections in your head that really should be there.
Yeah, I guess where I'm maybe there's a little bit of a click that I think it's different from that in that it just inherently comes. It's like eating an apple. You can't say eating an apple doesn't come with generating nutrition or digestion, right? Like it's just a part of the process. No matter if you don't eat enough to feel full, that's fine, and your stomach could shrink because you aren't eating enough to feel full, and so eventually you would get to the point where eating an apple would fill you up. But I don't think it's kind of like that. It's like you are still digesting. Yeah, it's like we're taking slightly. I guess it's. You're right. I think it is just a slightly different. But I don't
arrive
know.
At the same place, which is that the more people do it without the adding of all of these things together,
without the intent.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm saying that happens is just whether or not you're intentionally Yeah. There is that level of intent. You know what? Probably not good for a pod. We'll have to work this one out. This will have to be one of those because like, you're right. I'm clicking and I'm thinking, but it's not good for me to sit here for 5 minutes in silence. It'd be great for a conversation, not for a podcast. For me to sit here in silence for 5 minutes and work out exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So give us your opinions in the comments below. Go ahead.
Yeah, I suppose the conclusion here that I think we would both be pushing for is that I think a lot of people are giving up something that they don't realize they're giving up when they have sex just as the physical act.
Yes.
Right? And a lot of people are like, well, it's fun, this, that, and the other. And I think that they don't understand fully that there's this other stuff that if you put with it, it totally changes what it is, right? Like you're baking a cake, right? You throw the salt in there, totally different. I think it was ice cream. You're making ice cream, you got to throw salt in, and that anyway, you get the point.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think it's we are just a smidge off of each other. I think we're 99% right on there. It's just how it's like just eat. But yes, I agree. Anyway, I just thought that was a really interesting comment because I was like, yeah, okay, that's something that could be debated and talked about. And it has social media, so we're still. As long as that's the thing. I need to start every podcast with social media as a topic, and then anything I read off of social media can be tied in as being part of the process, discussing how social media affects us. Okay, here's a question. Because this has been something that has been happening, right? There's a lot of these Hollywood people who have been getting a lot of facial stuff done, but they're actually already they're very attractive, and then they get and it looks significantly like the most recent one. Excuse me. The most recent one is the actress from The Boys, the TV show The Boys, the fake.
I know of it. I haven't seen it. So
let me show you real quick. I can probably just share this real quick. This is what she used to look like when she started, and it's only been like 5 years, but she did this, and so this is not enough for this to actually be age and life changes. She's only like 25 now, I think, something like that. She is not old enough that she should. That kind of adjustment has happened. I say the same thing for like some of those early Ariana Grande changes that she made, like when she got real thin, gaunt, and but why do you think people? And the question was, why does someone with the face on the left even walk into a surgeon's office? She's basically perfect, blessed with a 99.9th percentile face. Like, what is the surgeon? And I agree. Like, she is gorgeous. That why would she even think about getting work done? Like, until she's 40, she doesn't even need to imagine work. You know what I mean? And it's this weird. I don't know. It's something's going on in Hollywood.
It's remarkable how the mind can be like this wonderful, like, open plain to stroll through, or it can be an absolute prison. It's absolutely remarkable. We were talking about that. I for the first time, I feel genuinely imprisoned in my mind.
I mean, that's what I was thinking. We were just talking about that earlier.
For about I've never felt it this way before, but
just kick it out. Yeah,
I feel captivated and imprisoned in my mind. And I suspect she probably felt similarly in the first one, thinking that she wasn't good enough for and they're just good enough looking for the thing.
It's so crazy that you look at it and you go, how do you? I mean, surely everyone also tells. That's the thing, though. It's not that she was getting negative reinforcement. I guarantee 99% of people, you're so beautiful, you're gorgeous, you're my ideal. So I don't understand. I could get it if it was like, I don't know, you're getting a lot of negative feedback, but maybe it is. That's the other thing, right? Like, I think Hollywood and the people behind the scenes talk a lot of, well, no, but you're gorgeous. It's just some of us are doing this, or what, kind of giving that little hint of like,
could be,
and so you almost respect your peers more than you do the masses, which is crazy, by the way, because the masses are a vastly larger number as far as beauty. Mm-hmm. Something as simple as beauty. It's like, why would you care what 8 people think when you could have, I don't know. It's really because they've been doing it with the Ozempic too. You're seeing like already fit, thin, attractive people are now becoming skeletons, and you're like, why would you were hot before. You were exactly perfect. You were toned, curvaceous, perfect, and now you're a skeleton. Why would you do that? And it's like, I guess there's something to, it's something that my brain struggles to, because I do this with another friend of mine. It's hard for me to wrap my brain around needing everyone to worship me or praise. You know what I mean? Like, we all like it. I think every human on the planet, when nobody's honest, when they're like, I don't care what anybody thinks. Like, yes, you do. Yeah. Everybody cares. But it's different from needing it, right? You need this constant. And I think there's people who need external validation for them to feel anything internally, and I don't have that, right? Like, at least not to that degree, and maybe that's why it's just hard for me to wrap my head around.
It's hard to empathize with. Yeah, 100%. To be so out of control of one's own, internal monologue, I suppose. Is very hard to understand.
It's like, man, you're already you're more popular than I will ever be. Like I will never get the compliments and the success you ever.
The first one was more beautiful than either of us will ever be.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, just in general, you are getting more positive feedback than I will ever get.
Everything right from now until the day we die.
Yep. I could get nose surgery. I could lose weight. I could, you name it, and I still won't be as attractive as she was in that picture. But I don't know. It's a weird.
It must not be about how attractive she was. It's what she thought of herself. Now, why did she think that of herself? I think you might be right that there was some chatter that she was picking up in the Hollywood circle. I don't know. It's
I wish I would have scrolled down and talked about this earlier, but we're going to talk about it now because I think we've solved the weird people having self issues. By the way, you out there, don't let other people affect how you view yourself. There, I did my PSA for feeling good about yourself.
Very good.
Thank you. Now people can say that I'm a good person. MIT researchers have mathematically proven that ChatGPT, which I hate when anybody uses that term, but it's like, not really. ChatGPT's built-in
sycophants?
Yeah, well, it's fancy. Yeah, with a Y at the end, but sycophancy creates I was having a hard time I could tell my mouth didn't want to say it. I can read it. I know what it is, but my mouth was like sycophancy. Creates a phenomenon they call delusional spiraling. You ask it something, it agrees. You ask it again, it agrees even harder until you end up believing things that are flat out false, and you can't tell that this process is happening. The model is literally trained on human feedback that rewards agreement. So the real world fallout is that it includes one man who spent 300 hours convinced he invented a world-changing math formula, and a UCSF psychiatrist who hospitalized 12 patients because of chatbot-linked psychosis in a single year. And basically what it is some of these AI, and actually this is something that Elon's talked about. He said that's the biggest thing he's trying to make sure the Grok doesn't do. He's like, we want Grok to be a truth-seeking platform as much as it can. We're not going to have it just tell you what you want to hear. We're trying hard. He's like, it's a process. We're not 100% there yet, but we are definitely trying to make this to where it doesn't just give you what you want. Whereas a lot of other ChatGPTs has this weird agreement cycle where it just keeps cycling further and further and further, telling you to where you genuinely, it actually can trick people into believing that they are something that they are not. And we've seen it on one of our videos had somebody say, oh, AI said this and you're not as smart as AI, right?
Oh yeah, one of the shorts got a comment that was.
And I think that's a problem because I think a lot of people do think that AI is already this perfected truth platform, and it's not. So if AI keeps telling them something, they keep believing it, and so and then you have a person who's, I mean, that blows my mind. The 12 people got hospitalized for psychosis analysis of having the analysis of having psychosis, when it was just some psychologist using Chat GPT, and it just was telling them what they wanted. It was like, that's crazy.
Yep.
Or no, I'm sorry. I think what they're saying is there were 12 patients who had this psychosis because they interacted with a chatbot. So they had this belief that, like, I invented something.
Conversations with the chat,
like they were out of touch with
spiral.
They were literally insane, delusional, because of they had so much conversation with a chatbot. And I think that's just wild that so many people can get genuine psychosis, and that's going to be a problem, right? Like, that has to be. I mean, we already have a problem with people being crazy and self-deluded and absorbed. We don't need. Oh my gosh. Oh god. You know, where's the meteor at? I don't know, but that just blew my mind when I was like, oh my gosh, even AI is making it. We're already delusional, self-absorbed, and now AI is just making it 5 times worse, and everybody blindly trusts it. I mean, I don't know, but I don't know.
Yeah, we just need more adults, man. More adults out there to act like adults.
Yeah, that'll never happen.
No, yeah, they can't do it anymore. They've let that part of themselves atrophy, wither.
I don't know what we're gonna do with placebo. Let's see if we've made it long enough.
Do your part, I'll do mine. That's all there is to do.
Hey, high five. We made it an hour. We did it. Everybody, if you've made it to this portion, please watch our D&D sessions, because they're fun, and we joke, and I go, ha, 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 and Placebo goes, ha, 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 and then King goes, ho, 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 I'm sad. And then we all have a good time. The reason Ken's sad is because he rolled a 7, and that is truly the biggest flaw of mankind, is the dice. He couldn't roll double digits, and it's just truly the worst. Yeah, I guess, you know, I've got one more that I want to put up this. I am already going to put that up this week. I want to really try to get like caught up on that, because I've been about a week behind. I'm going to try to get everything up. But so that's my little end of podcast spiel. Keep watching our stuff, like, comment, and I don't know, stick around. Hopefully I will mumble less. I will speak slower. I've been saying that since we started, and I don't know that I've made the improvement yet, but I will keep trying and thinking about it. And we'll keep having ideas that are interesting, and you guys will enjoy listening. And keep thinking. I hope we inspire. That's what I actually hope. I hope we inspire thought. I hope you're having an argument with us inside your head as you, like, well, or at least a conversation with us. Oh, well, actually, this makes me think about this. I wish you guys would have said this. Put that in the comments. And we were like, oh, that's so crazy. We'll talk about that next week. But yeah, thank you for showing up. Thank you for watching. Please click like. It helps with the algorithm and all that jazz. Bye-bye. Good night. We made an hour. Be proud of us.